Right there. Going right there.
Oh, right there.
Yep.
Jeez.
Oof. I just recognized it.
Excellent. Let's hope the car's off the road. Enough?
Enough that we don't get clipped.
Right.
See if you had some fake lights right now.
All right, before we start this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie, I want to thank you guys all for tuning in and watching the show. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do, because it's good for all the YouTube algorithms and stuff. If you're watching the show on Gunstream or on Rumble, thank you for being there. Those are awesome too. If you're listening to a podcast version of the show, please leave a positive review. I know that there's a million different places to listen to the show and podcast. So please leave a positive comment there and share the show with your friends, because that is how we get the Stagecoach across America. All right, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today we are coming to you from the NRA annual meetings in Atlanta, and I have with me Ryan Muller. Ryan, thanks so much for being on. You got to shake my hand, man.
I absolutely will.
I was thinking about this. I've had a husband and wife on the show together.
Okay.
I've had a father on a show, and then I've had his son on the show. And I've had your wife on the show twice, and now I finally get to get her husband. So this is really cool. I did a show with Di in DC back in 2019.
Okay.
And then and that was the first time I met her. Amy Dillon brought me in, and she's like, "Hey, this is Di. You need to do a show with her." And she's like on the phone talking to somebody. She's like, "All right, cool. Nice to meet you. All right, we'll see you later." And
that's Di on the phone.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, great. See ya.
And then a couple years ago, she was going to the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival at the Tommy Gun Warehouse, where Car Arms was putting that on. And so Amanda called me up and she's like, "Hey, could you go pick up Di at the Wilkes-Barre airport?" I'm like, "Sure."
If I'm picking her up, I'm putting a microphone on her. Yeah,
absolutely.
We're going to do this, yeah.
So I did something completely ridiculous. I drove from my place, 6 hours to some town in the middle of Pennsylvania to spend $20 to get a Pennsylvania permit. And then I picked up Di on the way back, and then went to
Sounds about right.
To the Tommy Gun Warehouse.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a husband and wife, and it's great that you guys are both shooters. Like usually it's one or the other. It's it's not like I actually like my wife. I tell people that. I'm like, I know it's a surprise, but I enjoy hanging out with her still. Nice.
So we've only been married 10 years, so maybe it'll wear off. But no, I love being able to travel and do our thing together, and we stay busy, whenever we're not on the road. Yeah. Which at certain times of the years isn't all that much. We're kind of in the busy season, so we spend a lot of time together, and I like it.
That's cool, man. That's great.
Yeah.
That's priceless right there. The fact that you guys can both do it and you can do it together, and she doesn't get upset when you go to the range, and you can't. Well, maybe envious, but a
little bit. I put a bay in at our house.
Really?
So if we want to go, we can just. It's tough. It's like having a gym at home. It's like no, I need to go to the gym because that's the only way I'm going to work out. Right. I'm not going to. So it is tough, but it's also nice to be able to make some changes or clean something to do a test fire before we leave or something. Just step out the back door. We lived in Tulsa for a while. Yeah. Back when she was a cop, I was an engineer in Tulsa in aerospace, and it was tough because green light.
Oh, sorry.
We're in town, and Ryan doesn't react well to town. Like I don't know what to do when you have limbs in your yard and you don't own a tractor to pick them up. Like I don't know, people put them in trash sacks and stuff and like set it by the curb and
somebody takes care of it.
Yeah, it was tough going, but in any case, having a range at the house that
is pretty cool.
It's pretty nice.
It sounds, it always sounds like, sounds like it'd be nice to have, but then you're like, ugh, it's got to be a lot of work. Yeah, like maintenance and do you guys have neighbors or?
We do, but you can't see them. We're pretty close to my family where I grew up, so when we need anything, they watch it. My neighbors watch over the place when we're gone, to make sure there's nobody around and they shouldn't be there. And family stops by every day and that kind of stuff. So
that's great, man. Yeah, that's great.
It's a good place to be.
That's awesome. All right, let's talk about you. How did you? You said you were an engineer. How did you become a gun guy? Did you grow up hunting or shooting?
I was a gun guy growing up. We grew up. There's no other people for a couple miles on our road. I was 7 miles from town, And I was just a kid that, you know, you had a pellet gun and killed everything. And then when you turn 13 in my family, you get a 22, which is a Ruger 1022. And when you could buy a 550 brick of 22 for $9, you know, I shot everything. I shot everything that was living, all the things that weren't living. And in doing so, you'd be surprised, you get to be a pretty good shot.
No kidding.
I was somewhat athletic growing up, played all the sports and stuff. So I had never been to a range. I'll tell you that. I've never been to a range until I met Di.
Wow.
And we're going through, and we had met through a mutual friend at work, and we're kind of becoming involved in stuff, you know, and she's like, well, you should go. I'm telling her kind of how to shoot long range and some sporting clays and stuff. She goes, well, you're good at this. I said, yeah, this is just shooting out of the back of a truck, you know, that's what I grew up doing. And
now,
so we go to her.
We do have this in Massachusetts too. Somebody that doesn't use their blinker and then waits till the light's red.
I thought, yeah, that was pretty red. I like that.
Yeah.
This is Atlanta though, so this is probably not the only crime you're going to see in 4 days. But
you guys don't do that in Oklahoma?
Yeah, exactly. But no, she said you should go to a match, and so I get, you know, spun up with borrowed gear. She was shooting for FN at the time, so I'm shooting a Scar. She was shooting for Loophole at the time, so like I started out with some great equipment, which helped. Yeah. And we go to this match, and going first. I didn't know at the time, when you go first on a stage, the next stage you go last. It rotates through the order, right?
So no one has.
So on my first match ever, my first time to a range, she makes me go first on our first stage, and she's like, "You just got to trust me." Well, it was a stand in one spot and shoot a pistol stage. So it was the absolute right thing to do. But we had some ammo issues at the time before we were shooting for Fiocchi, and
good, nice little plug there. Not sponsors of the show, but they should be.
There you go. Do it, Fiocchi. Do it. But we let the ammo sit out in the sun, and the Scar, like, it wasn't running. So I'm like butt stroking this Scar. I had no experience doing any of this stuff. So it went terrible. But end of the day, I shot like 55-60% of Daniel Horner, who, you know, anybody in the competitive shooting sports knows is one of the greatest that shoots. And she's like, okay, you're good at this. You need to do this. And by the next year, I made the Pro Series for 3 Gun Nation. Wow. And like by the next year, we went to 39 events one year. There's only 52 weekends to do it, right? So for about 10 years, that's all we've done. We travel, and she does the Women for Gun Rights stuff. You know, that takes a lot of time and effort. I'm on the side preserving the Second Amendment, being the counter to Moms Demand Action, and she's got a lot of. You should talk to her because she's got a lot of new things going on with that.
Oh, cool!
Especially this week, so some big headway, some big announcements that are being made here in these few days. But yeah, that's kind of how shooting got started for me, and performance-wise, I always did well. Like with some experience, and I had a great upbringing in the sport because I was good at looking at what people do and being able to recreate it, regurgitate what they say, and then just apply what they said to do. And I got to shoot with the Jerry Michuliks and Tony Holmes and Bruce Pyatt. Wow. And all the guys that have been, we've got kids that are good now, right? We've got the top performers. Right. These people have been doing it for 40 years. Oh my gosh. And they're the ones that figured out this is why we stand the way we do. This is why we build the grip the way we do. The not to take anything away from the people that are doing it now and winning, but I got to learn and pick up on 30, 40 years of experience that I didn't have to spend the time and ammo to get, right? So it's been nice, and you learn that even in whenever you talk about the sponsored shooter and this being what we do, this is what we do for income. This is what we get paid to do. It's not necessarily about winning. Your job is not to go place first and then be unapproachable after that. Your job is to be really good. So maybe you're top 5 or top 10, like I was everywhere we go. But you're approachable and you engage people and you do the extra events. Your job is to try to promote and sell product. So, and I just don't think everybody looks at the pro shooter or whatever in that capacity, but I think that's where they're missing out. They think, well, I won. Like, well, yeah, but did you sell anything? Like, why would a company spend money on you?
Right, it's all about selling.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So, it's been a good ride. I've met a lot of great people. I love the people that are in the shooting sports. They're helpful. I think, to agree. I've went and shot some other things, even outside of 3-gun. Like, you go to a 3-gun match, and Jerry Michulik will tell you exactly what he plans to do on a stage. He will give you his stage plan.
Really?
And give I saw this angle from this spot, and you can do that. He's still going to beat you. And if he doesn't, shame on him.
Right.
But he's still we're going to give everybody that is our competition the best chance that we can to help them succeed. And I don't think that's something that you see in other sports.
Oh, God, no.
I just don't.
Not at all.
I don't think that exists. So Dianna says all the time, love my 3-gun family, and that's why.
That's great.
Yeah.
This is one of the things I love about the gun community is everyone's great, everyone's friendly, everyone's cool, everyone's willing to help out in whatever capacity they can, whatever capacity, And I've had people, I've been traveling around the country for a while, and I'll call somebody up and be like, hey, I'm going to be coming to the area. Any chance I could crash with you? And they're like, yeah, come on in, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on in. Here's how you get in the house. Help yourself. Let us know when you're going to be around.
Yeah.
We'll plan a meal with you.
Do whatever you need. Yeah, we had
we'll plan a meal with
dinner
you.
with some local friends just last night.
Exactly. And I'm very fortunate that this weekend I am staying with Patrick Collins from the Gun Food. He's a really good friend, and he's like, here's how you get in the place. Let me know when you're going to be around. Here's the plans I have. If you're around, great. If you're not, okay, that's cool, man. Like, that's awesome. Gun folks are friendly folks, and that's one of the objectives I had for starting and doing a show is I want to put the word out that gun folks are friendly folks.
Yeah.
And we're not the people, the anti.
Well, they usually have a gun, so they're
right.
They're not too scared. They're pretty okay with their ability to keep themselves safe.
Right.
They're happy.
Do you really want to piss off the people that carry guns?
Yeah,
Are you serious?
Exactly.
Are you serious right now?
Especially the ones that are good with them.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is what I think about this when I think about Jerry. I'm like, and this applies to you. This applies to Di. This applies to all of the other competitive shooters. Like you said, when you go up against Jerry Michalak, it's a race for second place. Right?
Oh yeah. I tell you what, here's one of the things. There's many things that make a Jerry great. We're talking about him specifically, not just top-level performers. But one of the things that makes him great is that some people have stories that say, they start out with this, I beat Jerry once. Like, I remember I beat Jerry once, and it was a shoot-off, right? It was a speed deal. Like, I beat Jerry once.
Yeah.
But you're great when you have people out there that have that story, because they don't have like, oh, I've been beating Jerry for 30 years. Like, no, you have it.
Beat him once.
You have it. I beat him once.
So this is my question. If you're a competitive shooter, you can shoot quickly, you can acquire targets, you can do all that stuff.
Yep.
If Jerry, is it an unfair advantage if these people carry a gun? Because if Jerry hears, like, just imagine if Jerry hears something go down, he's going to turn around, and I'm like, does he shoot the way he shoots in a competition because that's what he's practicing for, or does he still have to? I mean, I know he still has to analyze targets and who needs to be shot, who doesn't need to be shot, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, I do, and we have, like, I've actually done training with Jerry. Again, we're using him, but and in those situations, can he shoot that fast? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he absolutely can. We go to a place down in Orlando. It's called WAFT, and it is self-defense scenario training, and we've done it with him. But that's, I kind of think we'll touch on the greater question. The topic that you're talking about is, as a competitive shooter, do you think it makes you better in a self-defense situation? Right? Like, are you going to be able to? If there is a threat, am I better at taking them out? And the answer to that, I think, is yes. When the decision is made that they need to be taken out, your draw is going to be faster, your target acquisition, your sight pick, you're going to point shoot. In one of those situations, you're not going to like, oh, I focused on my front sight and I soft focused on the target and I felt my trigger. No, you didn't. You were freaked out.
Right.
And you point shot, and you are great. Like, I can point shoot well because all my fundamentals, the gun is, when I get everything right, the gun is pointed where I'm looking, and therefore it shoots where I'm looking. But what you don't know is all of the stuff before the decision that you have a threat, right? So your self-awareness, how are you going to react to someone who just comes up to you and wants to ask for some gas money? And you don't have, as a competitive shooter, you don't have anything before that.
Gotcha.
So that's what we do the training at WAFT is he's teaching you everything before it. So you have to get that adrenaline dump, and you have to learn. That is great training. And I think that, like I said, before that event, we'll call it an event, happens, you're not really at any kind of an advantage. You may even be at a disadvantage because you're overconfident because you have a gun and you're good with it.
Right.
But you have to be self-aware, and you have to know how you're going to react when things like that happen. Because you don't know. And WAFT has changed people. It's changed several high-level competitors. The first year we went down was with Jesse and Casey, UCBO now, and Jerry and Kay, and like this was some top level in the country shooters.
Right.
And we learned as much about self-defense and scenarios from that, and the way we carry and the way we act and all of those things, as they did from us teaching them how to shoot. Like we taught them how to shoot, they taught us how to do the self-defense, right?
Right.
We learned as much as they did. Different stuff, but we learned as much as they did.
That's really cool, because that's something I think about all the time. I'm like, if you're a competitive shooter and you're traveling around the world, are you still going to carry? Because I don't want to say it's an unfair advantage.
It's not an unfair advantage, and I think you might run into some of that legality of like a boxer. If you're a trained boxer and then you kill somebody in a fist fight, they're going to say, well, you should have known not to hit them that hard in that area because you've been trained to do so. Right. I don't think self-defense is that way. That was
a big
like, what are Oklahoma potholes doing in Georgia? But I don't think that's a thing, because I think if you are, you're using your gun, it needs to be in that. I'm not a fan of just shooting people because they cut you off in traffic. Like there needs to be like, no, I was in fear of my life. This happened, therefore I was forced to defend myself, and you should be at 100% confident that you emptied your gun into them because that's what they needed.
That's what they needed. Gotcha.
Yeah. And if they need it, I think every American citizen has the right to do it. I'm a big fan of being able to protect yourself. I think that we should have lots of rights and lots of consequences to our actions, and I think that would be for a safer society for sure.
For sure. Yeah, the more I become a gun guy over the last several years, the more I become down with freedom. And I'm like, dude, if people want to do this, let them do that. If they want to, whatever your topic is.
I think that's a big misconception on gun. Pro 2A, Bible thumping, middle-aged white guy from the Midwest, right? Like everybody pretty much knows who I voted for. So there's no ads that are targeting me, but It's not just gun rights. Like if you want to be gay and smoke weed, I don't care. I want you to have the right to do whatever makes you happy, as long as it doesn't infringe upon the right of someone else.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I like to say that I'm like Sheryl Crow over here. If it makes you happy, can't be that bad.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. Just don't bother me. I'm not going to bother you.
Yes.
You don't bother me.
Yes. I'm 100% down that road.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little ridiculous with some people. As far as the other issues that revolve around gun ownership. And it's hard to, one of the things that the Women for Gun Rights is doing is it's bringing in a new face and a new demographic, and women are the largest growing demographic for women gun owners.
Yep. And within that subcategory is Black women.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Great. I'm all for it. As a gun owner, yes. If they want to defend themselves with a gun, get them one.
Of course.
If they don't, fine. Also,
that's fine too.
I don't care. But
I'm not going to force it on you. I don't want you to force it on me. Absolutely. Yep. I'm completely on board with that. All right, I think we can bang a Huey. Oh, great. We can bang a Huey here. We can. I'm confident in my skills, my driving skills.
We're in a Charger with a bull bar on it, and I think we could do whatever we want. If you had more tint, we could really do whatever we wanted.
Don't tell me I haven't thought of that.
Right? Oops.
Don't tell me I haven't thought of that. Yeah. Yeah, I dig my car. I ended up with a Charger. So in 2019 at the Gun Rights Policy Conference, I was awarded the Blogger of the Year.
Okay.
And I came back and I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, how do I parlay this into something? So I was like, I'm going to get a car. I'm going to drive around the country. I'm going to interview people. And I can't really drive around my Nissan Sentra. Like, that doesn't quite cut
you
it.
could.
I could, but I already had 250,000 miles on it. So I got to get something else. So a friend of mine saw a Dodge Charger. And he's like, hey, I'm thinking about buying that and putting some vinyl wrap on it to advertise his business. And I'm like, that's a cool looking car.
Yeah.
I'm going to get wrap on it. I'm going to put it for riding shotgun and do the whole thing. So, it was March of 2020 when I bought a Charger. And it was really cool. And then I needed to buy a new one. I bought another one.
Yeah. You got to get that wrap, though.
I do.
I'd go kind of incognito though. I know it goes against the grain of why I'm advertising, but you just got a cool car like this. You kind of,
It's so I guess if a little angel came down and pranged her wand on my life, I would have a riding shotgun car and then the daily driver.
There you go. There you go.
Right? Because people see me driving this Charger around with the bull bars.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, is this your regular car? Is this what you drive all the time? I'm like,
what else am I going to drive?
Yeah. Well, how do you expect me to get around, man?
Yeah. Well, my daily driver is a 2000. It's either a 3 or a 1. It's so old, I don't really know. Honda.
Yeah.
I call it the Anaconda. The Anaconda, yeah. But I had 6 deer 1 year, and which is fine. The only panel that doesn't have, I got 2 panels that don't have deer damage on it, and that's the roof and the trunk lid. But those have hail damage. So it's a pretty sweet ride. It's how I get the girls.
Nice.
Yeah.
The chicks dig it.
Right.
The chicks dig it.
I don't know what kind of chicks, but maybe some of them out there do. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so we were talking about how we need to get more. I hate saying minorities, but we need to get more women. We need to get more minorities. We need to get more black people. We need to get more of everybody. I've got one of my really good friends is she's a lesbian. She didn't grow up as a lesbian, but anyway, she switched teams for whatever reasons, and she and her wife bought a gun. And I did what I do for my closest friends when they join the dark side. Mm-hmm. I get them some A-Zoom dummy rounds.
Yep.
If I'm feeling really rich, I'll buy them a couple of magazines for whatever gun they have, so they have a spare mag.
Yep.
Or an extra spare mag, and then I buy them a book. And I'm friends with Beth Alcazar. I'll call Beth and have them do a gun. I'll have John Petrolino call and send him a book. Not send him a gun. Send him a book. And I'm like, here, we love you. We want you in the club. We need you to
read this.
Yeah. Yeah. My middle sister, she joined the club a few years ago, and her and I love saying this because I know she doesn't watch the show, so I can talk about it.
Talk about it, not at her.
Yeah, exactly. So she and her husband bought a Mossberg handgun and a Mossberg 500, and I was like, Mossberg makes handguns? I had no clue, but they make like a handful.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she ends up with a handgun and a shotgun. I find out what caliber it is. I send them A-Zoom dummy rounds. I have Petrolino send his book, Decoding Firearms. And then 6 months later, my brother-in-law messages me, and he's like, hey, man, what's the deal with hollow point ammunition? And I pulled out my copy of the book. I'm like, dude, it's on this page in the book.
In the book.
That I gave you.
Yeah.
And then my sister's like, what do we do with these things? I'm like, take a class from someplace because you're not going to listen to your brother. So
that's what I usually, if I get somebody a new gun owner like that, I give them a box of hollow points. And that's what we go through the ammo, right? Because I don't want you to have a gun and think that 115 FMJs are going to be the end all, right? Well, it'll work in the right spot, shot placement and all that. But,
sure.
But like, no, there's a reason these are $1.50 a piece. It's because they have a purpose, and we call it terminal ballistics for the politically correct and all that. But like these are for people and taking them out, and these are for training, and you need to shoot a lot of these and very few of these, or hopefully, none.
Right. That's great.
But yeah, no, I want anybody that wants to own a gun, I want them to be able to. I want to have easy access to be able to exercise their right to do that, just as same as they do any other rights,
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what it's about. It's about if you want to do it, great. If you don't, great.
Yeah.
I don't like when the anti-gun folks come out and say, I should know that if you're carrying a gun that you can hit your intended target and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, it's not about what I have to prove to you, because I have to prove nothing to you.
I don't have to prove competency for any right.
Right.
Like if you want to go down that road, like, yeah, before you have free speech, I think that you should have a bachelor's degree in the topic that you're talking about. Like, no, you ain't gonna make it.
Not at all.
So unfortunately, that's the problem with freedoms is it only really matters. It's, the freedom of speech when somebody says something you disagree with. That's when it hits, right? Like, oh, they have the right to say something that's stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
and
no, they still get to say, yeah, I'm a big fan of that too. Like I said, I'm a fan of all the rights. But.
All of them. And this is the thing too. So I was talking with one of my friends recently, and he was, I'm going to say he's a gun agnostic.
Okay.
Politically, I think he leans a little more to the left, but there's some things he's a little conservative on. anyway, so we talk about stuff, and
I'm a gun under butt. Is that his?
It's not. He's not even that.
Oh, okay.
But he's what he likes to say. Well, if somebody's going to have a gun license, they should not be a crazy person. And I'm like, crazy people can still be able to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Like, they just have to prove they're not a criminal.
Yeah.
Right. If somebody's a lunatic, and then I like this too when I talk to my non-gun folks, and they say, so what do you carry a gun for? Are you gonna get into the fight with somebody on the side of the road? I'm like, dude, I'm 55. I've never been on a fight on the side of the road. I don't anticipate that I'm going to start doing it now.
No, and the same argument, and I don't even like necessarily equating gun arguments to vehicles all the time because there's a difference of intent, but it's like saying, the same way with, you carry a gun because you're looking to get in a fight. Like, no, you don't put your seatbelt on because you're looking to get in a wreck.
Exactly.
But wrecks happen, and sometimes it's out of your control.
Yeah.
And I can't control the way other people drive.
Right.
I can't control the way other people break laws, right?
Right, absolutely.
So because I'm not in control of them, I have to be in control of me. I'm my own first responder. I'm responsible for myself, and this is the way I think I can do it the best.
Right.
So
that's cool. Yeah. All right, let's talk about being a competitive shooter and get back to that. So
sure.
You've been competing for 10 years, you said?
About 12.
About 12 years,
Yep.
Okay. I was going off you've been married for 10 years, so.
Yep. No, we were together 2 years before and shooting for 2 years before we actually got married. So I was slow. I admit it. We should have done it earlier, but it's that whole commitment thing.
Right. Totally. When I decided to become a gun guy, I was already married and had one child. My son was 9 months old when we decided maybe we should get a gun license. But my first ex-wife, as I affectionately call her, she said that she's like, I brought this up when we were dating, that we should go shooting and get our licenses. And I'm like, I was drunk and playing in a band. I don't remember.
At least you're honest.
I don't know, but yeah. And for me, a lot of the stuff was baby steps. It was get a gun license, and then not have any guns, right? And then it was I inherited a couple of firearms, so have those in the house, but no ammunition. And I'm like, all right, baby step closer. So then she went shooting a year after I went shooting and did a live fire class. And then she's like, all right, this is pretty cool. Let's keep the guns upstairs and the ammo downstairs. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like, baby steps forward,
You're getting there.
Yeah. So, how much do you practice?
Not as much as we used to. So once you get, and I don't do as much practicing now because it's kind of like working out. Not that I'm great at that either, but
right. But you got
to,
you got to get to that level, and then you just prime the pump.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to maintain. So I can still shoot pretty good. So when you go out and you just basically refamiliarize yourself every day and work on those subconscious movements. So your brain can only process it. Like your conscious mind is very, very weak. Mm-hmm. It only thinks about one thing.
Right.
Subconsciously is very powerful. It can think about lots of things. So whenever you do things subconsciously, you're good at it. So I want to shoot subconsciously. I want to ground guns subconsciously. I want to pick them up. I want to do my reloads. All of that stuff. My draw, I want it to be a subconscious thought. So my conscious mind can be thinking about just the stage.
Right.
So that's, to get back to your question on practice, is I don't practice a lot, but we do little short bursts of things. And if I was to and that's tough, and like I said, I think a lot of my job is not to necessarily win. I don't have to get first, but I still want to do well. And I personally want to do well anyways, but I have to maintain that. So I practice enough to maintain that. And then a lot of the rest of the job is not just shooting. You got the social media, you've got the events that we do. And I love doing that stuff. I like to make each event an event, not just a match. Right. So
that's
we
cool.
We drive the trailer around. I'm sure you've probably seen that guy, big 46.5-foot windsock that we pull around with all of we got Daniel DeFinch real big down the side, and Genesis and Fiocchi, and our sponsors, Night Force is on there. So we do that, and then one of the great things about doing that too is we can carry all the gear around the trailer. So we offer loaners and stuff like that. So.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. When you go to one of the guys that I've done some classes with, he always brings 2 guns and plenty of ammo for both guns, because if somebody's gun goes down, he's like, here, you can use this gun. Oh, it's the wrong caliber. Here's some ammo. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've loaned out guns that cost way more than the car I drive. It's like, here you go, throw it in a barrel, beat it up, and if you can break it, great. They should have built it where it didn't break. It's a tool. We have tools.
I'll send it back to the sponsor side and fix it.
I will absolutely, and they're okay with that, because we do have the I call it luxury, or we're blessed to be able to shoot for top end brands. Like, no one says the Angel Defense rifles aren't very good, right?
Right.
Night Force scopes, those don't hold up. No, you don't get that.
Right.
So if it breaks, and I haven't broken one, but if it does, you can call them and they're like, yeah, we'll figure that out. Here's a new one.
That's cool. That's cool. All right, this guy's got other cars in front of him. That's awesome. Do people come to you, or do you have to go to other people and say, hey, listen, I'm a competitive shooter? When you first started.
Yeah.
I'm a competitive shooter. I'm doing this many matches. These are my scores. Here's my stats. And then approach somebody and ask them to get on board?
No, it's more about building a relationship. So I can't remember, honestly. I think the people that approach us would be Patriot Mobile.
Okay.
And maybe, we were talking to them before sponsorship even really comes up, right? And basically we've aligned ourselves with people that have like morals and understandings. Like, I don't care what I get paid, maybe to an extent, I don't know, but like to represent a company that I don't like. Like, if you've got somebody who is anti-2A and selling guns because it's great for business, I don't want to be associated with that, right? So Patriot Mobile, I think they're probably the last people. They approached us and, like, hey, through Women for Gun Rights, we want to get behind some of that, and then the competitive shooting side, and they're great people. Yeah. Like, they took over $2.5 million last year, went to Pro 2A and Pro Life organizations.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And they're going to bump up their 2A because they're getting a lot of feedback from that. And people in our group are excited because they're unapologetically like, no, we're pro-life, we're pro 2A, we're pro-constitutionalist, and we're not going to track your data. We're not going to do all of the things, and we're still going to make money, but they're just going to make a little bit less. Right. So they have access to Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T, all 3 providers. There's only 3 towers in the United States. So US Cellular, Mint, all the ones, they buy into that. Well, Patriot Mobile bought into all 3. Gotcha. And what that gains you is, if I've got a phone and I travel a lot, I can have 2 carriers on the same cell phone at the same time. That's cool. So if Verizon isn't working, T-Mobile takes over.
T-Mobile does, right. Yeah. I do remember seeing Di post some stuff on our social media that you guys were in Thailand somewhere?
She was in Thailand. She was actually in Thailand when I got hurt.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So she was somewhere recently, and she was the only one that had coverage, like cell phone coverage. Yeah. So that's...
Yeah, that could have been... we were in Texas. You get up in the hills, you get away from town. Yeah. And they had sent us with a new Patriot puck. They've got a little Wi-Fi puck. Oh, cool. That's meant for mobile coverage. So we had internet in the middle of, not much. Nice. So, but no, I would say it happens both ways. There are people that ask about how to get sponsored, and I get that question like, how do I get sponsored? And, right. Getting someone to approach you is rarer, for sure. Yeah. We're pretty established in the industry, so that's probably why that happened. But we've Daniel Defense, that was years of conversations, talking with them, and then finally it's like everything just kind of went, and they're the same way. Like, they are God-fearing people, and they're going to do things, honor God and defend freedom is their logo. Like, I can get behind that. I like that. That's cool. It helps that they make great rifles, but this helps. Same way with the Night Force folks. They bring us out there, and it's like the nicest people you run into. That's the people that I want to partner with.
Which one is it?
Night Force.
Night Force. Okay.
Yeah, they're in Orofino, Idaho. Okay. You ever get out that way, do it. That is some beautiful stuff.
I was talking with a buddy of mine on the way down here, and Idaho is one of the states I have not been to. Yeah. So I got to put it on the list.
Yep. And I haven't been to Genesis. They're up in, they're a shotgun sponsor. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is up north. I looked at traveling up there one time. I was like, you guys are a golf ball hit from Canada, and I don't even golf. Like, you're that close. But a friend of mine, I called him one day, and he's like, I'm in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I was like, I know people up there. He says, this is beautiful. So
oh my gosh.
It's a neat place.
I was at SHOT Show a couple of years ago, and one of my buddies had a couple of drinks. He's like, hey man, we're gonna go out tomorrow night. We're gonna go to the California border and shoot into the state. That's great. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, like that's evidence is what that is.
Right? Oh my goodness. I don't know if the statute of limitations has passed, but I did not use his name.
You made that up. It was
right.
It was for the show.
It's all it's all about the clicks, right?
Yep. Did it for the gram.
That's right. How much competing do you guys do now?
We'll hit probably 20 total events throughout a year.
Okay.
And that's including, like, we're really trying to get into, like, I want to advertise with the trailer and stuff. I want to get our sponsors in front of not just the typical competition shooter.
Right.
I want to go to off-road events. We went to Nashville Dance Fest last year. 3,000 people show up that are there to do line dancing and stuff. And we got the Daniel Defense, both trailers in there, like, next to the stage. So we were a presence. And you don't know, right? When you go into something like, is this crowd going to be anti-gun? Are we going to have the Karen moms out there, like, you know?
You're going to be protesting in front of it.
What was nice about Nashville Dance Fest is the people that put it on came out and said, like, no, if that happens, they'll be escorted out.
Wow.
Like, we're cool. Here. These are the kind of people, you may not agree with it, but we will not put up with any of that. Like, you guys are welcome here. And awesome. The guy that puts it on was a survivor of Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
The Las Vegas shooting. What made him famous is he had worked with Turning Point USA, but he also hijacked he knew that the construction people, a lot of time the workers would leave the keys in their trucks. So he went and stole a Ford and hauled 3 loads of people to the hospital before the ambulance and stuff got there.
Wow.
Yeah, so Ford gave him a truck, and they gave a truck to the company that he stole that one from. So
that's pretty cool.
It was a pretty neat story. But no, we want to get in front of not just the events. And, you know, we just got back from Texas. We're going to go shoot the Hornady Zombies match next. We're going to be all over. Between now and then, Di's going to go to the Czech Republic for the world shoot with the DDPCC. So it's busy, but we're going to do the competition. I would like to do a little bit of the 22 PRS for some weird reason. I guess I just want to try that. So
before we get too far, how did you do in the dance competition?
Oh, I didn't even do that. No.
All right.
At the time, I was kind of barely walking still. Right. There was definitely no holding up Di and all the fancy twist and stuff. Gotcha. Dancing ain't my thing.
All right.
Di loves it.
All right, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, I knew you had the injury, so
I gave it a go, but it was, yeah.
So this is ridiculous. This is the ridiculousness that's my life. I had some videos. I don't know if Di's giving you the whole scoop on me, but I make videos playing the trumpet with one hand and shooting a gun with the other.
Okay.
And I had a bunch of videos take off one year, and some local friends were doing a Dancing with the Stars.
Okay.
Right? Like a local Dancing with the Stars. They're like, hey, do you want to be in this? And I had 2 friends that had done this before, and they both won. So I'm like, well, I'm up for doing this, but I don't want to be the loser in the group, right? Now, I hate dancing. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do it because I don't want to be the odd man out.
Yeah.
So I put in the diligence. I went and practiced at this lady's house, learned how to do all this stuff. I won first place. So I get to tell people I'm an award-winning dancer.
Yep,
right?
Strong move.
Yeah. And then my daughter was very much into show choir when she was in high school, and singing and dancing and everything. And I like to tell her that there's only one award-winning dancer in the family, and it's not her.
Yep, it's this guy right here.
That's right. Anyway, so the guy from the Vegas shooting, you guys were in Nashville.
Yeah.
He's very much into supporting it.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Taylor Winston. But yeah, so for the events, like, I want to go to an off-road park. We got Daniel Defense into the NFR last year. National Finals Rodeo.
Wow.
Like the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
That's cool.
Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
Yeah.
They do a huge of the Cowboy Christmas. Like, it's like a little baby SHOT Show that isn't much of a baby. It's like a middle-aged, a teen SHOT Show, right?
Right.
But it was kind of taking a chance. Again, like, what kind of people are we going to run into? And man,
right.
It was great. these people are all about, a bunch of cowboys, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're walking around at 10 o'clock in the morning with a Miller Lite at the show. Like, they took the weekend off from working, and they're out there to look at guns. They loved it. They did really well. So.
That's cool. That is way cool.
I think we'll be back to that one.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of fun. So Di does the international stuff. Do you do the international stuff?
No, and I would like to. So with the injury, I can't run yet, so I'm not as fast on my feet, and it's getting better. It's been a year, so I went from not walking to not being able to run. So I'll take that for some progress. But so I can't be competitive, and all the stuff of the back that I broke, sitting on an airplane for 2.5 hours, eats me up pretty hard. So I'm not going to do 8 hours. I'm pretty sure it was 8 hours from Chicago to Heathrow when I used to do it. And I'm not going to pay $8,000 for a business class seat that I can lay down in. So it was a no-go.
Let's talk about this injury.
Yeah.
Like this came out of nowhere, right?
Oh yeah. I was in Thailand. A motorcycle. And I'm just turning around in my driveway, like I'm putting around. I'm doing 8-10 miles an hour. I'm going slow, and I spun out on some gravel. Our driveway's pretty steep. I don't remember a lot about it, but either way, whatever happened, I ended up falling off the back, spun out, and landed right on my butt. But I landed hard enough and wrong enough that I burst fractured my sacrum, which is kind of the piece that holds your pelvis together and your tailbone, and my T12. I bruised my spinal cord. I had a bone stuck into my spinal column, bruising my spinal cord. But when they got in there, they found out they didn't cut it. So that's good news.
Yeah.
If there is any, whenever you're doing that. But your sacrum area is where your spinal cord turns into nerves. It goes from a cord and goes out through your body and all these nerves. So I have a lot of neuropathy, and my muscles don't all want to respond all the right way, and it gets better. So I have every 18 to 21 seconds the leg spasms at sometimes, and yeah, it's sporty sometimes, but I'm not going to complain. I remember sitting in the hospital thinking, I was in it's been a month, and I was in ICU, couldn't move anything basically from the waist down, no bodily control, all the stuff, right? Upper body, everything worked fine, but yeah, I don't want to do that again. They worked on the back, so they split me down my back, and they did all the work from there, and I got rods and screws and plates and whatnot, holding everything together. But the rough one, I think, was they went in through my side, and they push your intestines down, they push your lung over, they go into your chest cavity, and they pull a vertebrae out, grind it up, and put it in a metal cage, stick it back in there, and get it all lined up and spaced right, and screw it in, and then they plates over that, whatever. It looks pretty gnarly, but I think that hurt. I was.
It hurts. I'm just listening.
I don't want to do that. I'm pretty active for, especially early on whenever you're doing the recovery stuff.
Yeah.
I was pretty active, but I'm like, I don't want to go do that again. So.
Yeah, no kidding.
But it's not that bad. I remember laying in the hospital thinking, I got buddies we shoot with that are they're missing their leg, it was blown off. In defense of our country, I was messing around in my driveway and I can't walk right. I'm not okay with it. I'm not content. It's upsetting all that stuff, but it could be worse.
It could be a lot worse.
It could be worse.
This is, keeping things in perspective is a good thing for sure. I'm going to ask the dad question. Are you getting back on the motorcycle?
I already did.
Really?
Oh yeah. You can't not, right? You can't. It was a freak accident. If I'd have been doing stupid stuff or anything irresponsible, I get it. There's so many times throughout life that I should have been hurt. All of basically from about 28 and before, all of that.
Yeah.
We raced Baja. We got a big wreck in that. That was a good time. Didn't get hurt at that one. The motorcycle. No, I kept the motorcycle. I still got it. I need to sell it actually, but I kept it. And before the 1 year anniversary, I said I'm going to ride that motorcycle up that same hill. And so I did. I did it multiple times because it's my driveway.
Right. You can't avoid that.
My forever house, and I'm not going to drive up my driveway every time thinking, oh yeah, I was laying right over there taking a selfie, and before the mess started. So
right. I think we missed our turn.
Did we?
Yeah. That's right.
Don't tell Di. In fact, don't even let her see that. She's my navigator when we drive down the road. So and I've missed some signs before. I've got my stories, but I also get the that was our turn. You know, there it went right there. I'm like, you were navigating while I was working.
You were supposed to tell me.
So what if I just quit doing my job all of a sudden behind the wheel?
Right.
Yeah.
So I know you know Rob and Amanda from I Am the Target Radio.
Oh yeah.
I've gone a couple road trips with them.
Okay.
And her brother sits in the front seat and navigates.
Yeah.
And
she drives from the back. That's what Di does.
He will sit here and say, turn on my side, turn on your side.
Oh.
I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, he can't remember left and right.
Huh.
All right.
My side? I haven't heard that one yet. If it works for him, great. But
yeah.
Works for him, great.
I thought we were... I don't know where we're going, man.
I'd say you're turning right.
My favorite getting lost story is I had Masada Ayub in the car.
Okay.
And I'm interviewing him in 2019 down in Florida. And I was just making this big square. And I missed the turn to get back, right? All left-hand turns. And I missed the left-hand turn to get back to the campsite. And so I kept driving down this road. And I'm like, I know we drove past an airport. And then we took a right to go to the camp. So I'm like, I don't know if we did that. So I turned left and then went down through like a neighborhood. And then I got back on the main road and I'm like, I didn't pass the airport yet. So I turned around again and I went further back. Then I went to the airport and then I was confident where I was going. So we're almost back. And I'm like, well, you know, we don't have to call Gail and tell her that we got lost. And he's like, oh, this is the first time that an Arab has been kidnapped. Like, dude, that's great. That is absolute gold.
Yeah.
Absolute gold.
Like, I can't put that on the show.
No, I left it in. I left it in, man. The only thing that hits the editing floor is my feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's in. Everything's in. Oh, good times. Good times.
Oh.
All right, so what do you have going on for 25? What else is like coming up in the future for Ryan, for the Mullers?
Hopefully, so I'm just getting back to shooting more, and that's something like when I got hurt, like you think like, oh my gosh, because we do most of our contracts are 1-2-year contracts, and it's like I can't do my job anymore. Like what do I do?
What do we do?
Not to mention the $524,000 with the hospital bills that you get thrown on with right after we had just built a house. You know, all of these things are just terrible, right? So I'm. You know, you're trying to heal and do this, and you sleep a lot, and you're going through the rehab and all the medicine and stuff they put you on, and makes you, just messes with you. I got off all that, but you know, it was a lot to go through, but luckily, like, you know, we talked to sponsors, they're like, no, it'd get better. It's like, which is a testament to our industry, right?
Relationship, yeah.
Honestly, it would have been financially, because I don't know what I could be good in 2 months. I may never walk it. Like, I was in a wheelchair and a walker. I went nowhere without a walker.
Yeah.
You know, for several months, which they thought would take a lot longer. They thought I would. In fact, I was told I probably would never walk again without a walker or braces.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I had
That's
to get.
rough.
I would go out on our deck, our porch, and try to walk. And I'd hang onto the railing and try to let go and take a step. I remember doing that, and I couldn't hold myself up.
Oh my gosh.
You lay in bed for a month. You think about all the stuff that you lose.
Yeah.
And the neurological damage that, like, you go to move something and it doesn't do anything. It
doesn't work, yeah.
Yeah, or it does something when it's not supposed to, which is what I run into a lot right now, muscle tightness. But I don't remember what I was saying. Where were we going?
What do you guys have coming up?
Oh, coming up, yep. So I'm back into shooting. I shot Texas 3 gun already. Did okay at that. As opposed to, like, you know, I got beat by 5 people. I do now. I beat this many people.
Oh,
so
nice.
It's a big physical natural terrain match shooting out in west, Texas, west of Austin, and I beat 66 people. So that's what we're gonna go with.
There you go. I didn't come in first, but
yeah, I didn't get last. So as long as I don't get last, I'll be happy. But I can still do all the promotion and the stuff, for the sponsors without actually winning anymore. So
there are 66 people who lost to a guy who's been walking for a year.
Yeah, right. And walked the entire match because he don't run.
Right.
Yeah, but no, we're still going to do the competition shooting. I would like to do a little bit of the PRS 22 stuff. I might go talk to the Voodoo and the Proof Research guys, maybe even at NRA show, and see, what I know those are the two, like, those are some go-tos for that. So,
right.
Like to do a little bit of that. Di's got her trips. No, I want to do a lot of the same stuff, and and hit some of those new demographics of people, get our name in front of other people, the off-road parks,
That's
the
very cool.
barbecue crowd, people that have tractors probably like guns. Did you think about all those? I got a jacked up truck and a big 4-wheel drive, four-wheeler that I go mudding with. Probably likes guns.
Chances are good.
Chances are pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get in front of some of those people. I think we'll do the NFR again. We'll do some of those events.
Mm-hmm.
And then Di's got some new stuff with Women for Gun Rights. We've been working on that. So she's got a new director of strategic communications.
Oh, I think I saw that.
That's Alexis Wilkins. She's doing great so far. They're trying to kind of do some different stuff from the social media aspect. The message that Di's built and the relationships she's built, they're great, but they're trying to kind of take some of the load off of Di's shoulders over the course of the next year and let her, not focus on it as much, because it really takes a lot of her time. She's put a lot of work into it and done really great things, but trying to basically get some more team members behind her that can take it and run is the plan. So
yeah, I thought it was really cool that they went from one woman from every state to each state has a small network of women.
Yeah, I think
really cool.
Her approach there was, because it started out with competitive shooters. We really didn't have any idea what she was doing, right?
Right.
She just had an idea and she ran with it, and she's done great. But she was doing competitive shooting. Well, there's not a competitive shooter female from every state. So then she just did females. So we'll get females. And the reason for the females is it's not that men can't be in the organization. It's that it's harder to argue against a female. Females have a louder voice, right? I want to keep one for my protection. They don't look at us and go, "You'll be fine." She needs in a parking lot, right? Like, no, my 118-pound wife over here, she needs a gun, right?
For sure.
So, and training on how to use it in self-defense and all the things. But, she's doing that, and I think we'll expand upon that and see how it grows. I think it'll do great things in the next year.
Cool.
I think so. So.
Nice.
Maybe we get to shoot even more. I don't know.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, shooting is a job, but when you get there, you're like, this is fun. Like, I like my people. I like my events. I like getting to talk to new people. All the things.
This is what it's about, for sure. All right, listen, we need to wrap things up. How can people find you and all the stuff how can they find you?
The social media stuff. I've got the Ryan Muller competitive shooter. Ryan Muller 3GNR is my Instagram. So you can do that. You can Pro 3 Gunner is our website. Look up Women for Gun Rights. So there's a lot of stuff we do on that.
Right.
womenforgunrights.org. That's that website. Just a standard new age technology ways to contact people.
Right. If you can't Google their name, they need something else.
Yep. That's exactly right.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for being on the show.
Sure.
Pleasure
was
mine.
Yep.
We still have a little bit of driving, and I need to figure out where we're supposed to go. But
that's the hotel right there.
That is the hotel. So we're going to hopefully drive in that direction, and hopefully Atlanta's grid-ish. And when we,
I am not confident in the grid.
Oh man. Anyway, thank you guys for watching the show. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you are not a member of the Second Amendment Foundation, go to saf.org. You can sign up for there. You can get a lifetime membership for a whopping $150. You can find all of your favorite pro-freedom podcasts at sdrn.us. I think it's SDR. It's been a long time since I've done a show. Anyway, it's the Self-Defense Radio Network, sdrn.us, I believe is what it is. There will be a link below. Thank you guys for watching the show, and we will see you next time.